Kaugnay sa kontrobersyang kinakaharap ngayon ng ilang artista at politiko, makakausap natin si Joanne Maglipon, Editor-in-Chief ng Yes sa magazine. Magandang umaga, Ms. Maglipon.
Good morning.
Magandang umaga, Howie and Cara.
So, media circus na ba ito? Is there too much coverage of these dramas? There's a lot of crying. And is this relevant? It's taking airtime away from supposedly more substantive issues and news. Do we need to see all of this?
Ideally, a story like this, which has to do with a minor and a couple, will enter the family court, and ideally, there shouldn't be any talk.
Ito yung kay Chris and James.
Chris and James. But some party leaked the petition on the temporary protection order and the petition for the permanent protection order. Once it got out there in the newspaper, it became a natural magnet for coverage. After all, when we cover stories, we don't really cover the quantitative material or the facts being bare. We talk about the people behind those facts and those elements. Otherwise, people are not interested, because the fact is people are interested in people.
So you think the media was wrong in leaking the document, the legal document in the first place? Kasi hindi naman lalaki ito kung hindi nileak yun eh.
Actually, the media did not leak the
Someone
document.
from the two parties.
Someone out there leaked this to a newspaper, a broadsheet. And then from there, everyone had to pick it up as news. Because it's out there already.
Pero ang sinasabi rin ng mga ibang media people, nagsasalita rin kasi yung dalawang partido.
Exactly.
So parang
After that,
bakit kayo magko-complain na media circus? Kayo yung nagpapa-press con din naman.
Yeah, after the leak, as far as I know the chronology of this, James Yap reacted by having an interview to respond to the leak. Now, it is true, and we all know it, that James Yap rarely ever talks. So I think this was an unexpected punch. And then, there had to be a response. So Chris's camp had to go on TV this time with the full power of three sisters plus herself. So now, naturally, everyone is interested in picking up.
At tama bang tinututukan ng husto ng media itong buhay nitong mag-asawa at saka yung buhay nitong magnobyo na si Hart at saka sa Cheese na sabi ng iba natatabunan na daw yung ibang mga
Hindi
issue.
ba naman, lahat ng programa sa TV nyo may storycon. Yung mga dyaryo naman, may mga powwows yan bago ilabas ang mga balita. So nasa editors na at publishers at saka sa program producers, yung pagtimbang ng kung anong klaseng weight ang ibibigay mo sa balitang showbiz at balitang iba. Pero, hindi rin naman ako boto doon sa nagsasabi na, what is that? It's nonsensical. It's hogwash. It's just gossip. They use the term gossip when they're talking about showbiz, when in fact, all these political tidbits, all these business tidbits of corruption, of lifestyles that are extravagant,
are also gossip.
Yeah, exactly. But you need these anecdotal issues, you need these details to get an insight into the people you are profiling, whether they're in business, science, education, or showbiz.
So, okay, well, speaking of which, no, kasi si Chris and James Yap, they're kind of in a different league from Hart and Cheese. Cheese is a senator, he's running for election, so he's purposely putting his best foot forward and campaigning and all of this. So this kind of reveals a lesser-known side of someone running for public office. So may nakikita ba kayong relevance dito sa lumalabas tungkol sa kanya?
My personal take is this. If you're a politician, your constitutional rights for protection are even less. When you're a celebrity, it becomes less to begin with. But when you're a politician, I think you're out there, you're selling yourself as a servant to the people. You have to be an open book. Even in any society, the more refined, the more detailed they are about what kind of character you have if you're going to assume a very high office. So I think it becomes relevant. The only thing is, maybe he did not count on very particular stories being told about him by the parents of Hart. But these people also have a right to objecting to what's happening to their daughter if they feel that she is disenfranchised in this relationship. And it does affect his campaign, which maybe doesn't count with them. Maybe it doesn't matter.
Sa palagay mo ba, sobra-sobra na yung lumalabas na detalye tungkol sa personal na buhay nitong, at least for Senator Cheese Escudero and the Heart Evangelista? Or dahil because they're public personalities, kasama ito sa...
Sa totoo lang, I think kasama eh.
Kasama
Kaya lang,
talaga.
sana, meron din yung sensibilidad kasi yung pinag-uusapan dito. Sensibilidad natin sa media.
Right.
At saka sa kanila rin, yung mga nagsasalita, sana pumili rin ng kung anong detalye ang ibibigay sa publiko. Kasi merong mga detalye na, especially if they're sexual in nature or physical in nature, I get a little upset din on my, even if I have to write about these things, dahil isipin mo rin, do you want this done to you? However, the moment you go out there and you sell yourself, for instance, showbiz personalities, mabuti ko ang ibinibenta lang nila ay yung kanilang roles, yung kanilang acting prowess, yung kanilang career, but that is not so. The moment they stepped into the boundaries of being endorsers, for instance, wala na eh. They gave up their private life. Because when you're an endorser, and that's where the money is, for all showbiz personalities. It's not even in the salaries for their teleserye. It's in the endorsements. Basta't naging endorser ka, ang binibenta mo dyan, yung kredibilidad mo, yung personalidad mo. Paano ka makikilala ng tao kung wala namang nalalaman tungkol sa buhay mo?
Pero siguro meron namang pwede pang iiwan sa'yo na private. Halimbawa, yung asawa, yung former wife ni Senator Cheese Escudero, wala naman siyang kinalaman dito sa isyong ito. At siya, pribado siyang tao. I think, personally, I think it's unfair that we're dragging her and the children.
Oh yeah, I'm not aware that she was dragged into this because we have not touched her. So has she been in the limelight?
Well, may statement
may
siya
statement
na may nagsasabi daw na yun nga, may lumalabas.
Binubugbog daw siya before.
Oh, those rumors. Yeah, those things floated way before. And maybe it was good that she spoke so she can clear it up. Because that was a bad mark against the senator, even if it's just floating. So it's a good thing that she spoke. I think media did a good turn by getting a final statement on that issue.
May mga public relations strategies na na-interview din namin. May mga ilan sa kanila nagsasabi na the best response on the part of some of these people currently caught in this kind of news is tumahimik na lang, tumahimik na lang. Yun nga yung advice, lalo na kay Cheese Escudero, dahil tumatakbo nga siya. The best strategy would have just been
to keep quiet.
Cheese, of course, has not been quiet, and we're not, you know, I don't think he's a naive person. Obviously, may nakikita siyang benepisyo sa pagsasalita. In fact, lumalaban pa nga siya, you know. He's brought out the rich-poor card, and he's the poor, and the parents of Heart are the rich. Obviously, hindi siya nakinig sa ganung klaseng advice na tumahimik na lang. Sa tingin mo, ano ba dapat ang response dito para makontrol or hindi maging media circus?
Actually, I have a natural aversion dyan sa mga spin masters, dyan sa mga gumagawa ng image makers. I have a natural aversion to them because they go against the grain of what we have to do in media. We're trying to ferret out the truth, the essential truth. We're trying to find out who this person is that's going to serve us in a very high office. And yet, all these spin masters are trying to prevent us from trying to get to know the man. In fact, I'm okay with it that Cheese should speak for himself. If he feels nabugbog na siya, di sumagot siya, it's all right. But you're right about the limits. They can set the limits themselves. But I really don't like this advice, which is often the case even for showbiz stars. They're often told to just put a lid on things, tumahimik kayo. That's why most of the time...
Kasi mas lalo lang maraming...
Yeah, but I don't agree with that. Because normally, you obfuscate the truth, you cover up, you create a false god, and you put out this personality to be used as a model for the youth, to be an endorser, when actually this person may be a false god.
Well, of course, ang nangyayari ngayon is the opposite. Parang may cry fest, no? Si Cheese lang yata hindi pa umiiyak eh.
Correct.
Pati si James umiyak na rin, ano? So, I guess this is something that people like yourself want to see. Na, you know, si Heart Evangelista, letting it all hang out.
No, I don't want to see it out there. In fact, when I was watching, because I've just seen it now, I felt a little queasy Hindi ko malaman ang mararamdaman ko. And also because maybe I know a lot of the background stuff that I can't put out there. So when I watch somebody, I will either say, these are crocodile tears or these are real tears. I will know. But I don't just say it outright. So, leave it.
Hindi kayo komportable pag
Hindi ako komportable.
pinapanood nyo si Hart kanina?
Kahit na sino umiiyak, tayo naman, parang ayaw naman natin na may masyadong malungkot na umabot na sa breakdown on TV. Lahat tayo may naaasiwa sa ganon. Pero ang sinasabi ko lang, maybe from my position, I've been 13 years on this beat. And I run a website which has to do with entertainment and a magazine that has to do with entertainment. I rather know the backgrounds. So when somebody is crying out there, I see it differently. I still feel queasy, but I know whether it's real or not real.
Okay, have there been similar cases, precedents, lalo na concerning politicians, politicians running for office and relationships? Anong nagiging epekto sa kanila? Does it hurt their chances, improve their chances? I mean, there's buzz, certainly, no? More recall for people involved in this kind of thing. They're getting all this free airtime, no? As opposed to the, uncontroversial candidates, no? Anong nangyari dito?
I think when it's an issue of adultery, for instance, it's a married couple and there's adultery, then it boomerangs against the person, I think. But if it's just a romance, for all you know, people will think, ay, pinaglalaban nitong isa yung isa. You don't know.
So sa palagay niyo, makakatulong ito kay Cheese?
It can even do that. It can even do
really?
that. We don't know. I heard that Senator Santiago was saying this is not good. He's fighting with people at a time when he's trying to win a re-election. Now, that's true. But on the other hand, you don't know. We will see. It still might go in his favor because they might see him as a man who's fighting for a lady that he loves, who is defending him in turn against all odds, against all the parents' wishes, etc. So we don't know how this will turn out.
Are you happy with how the media, lalo na showbiz talk shows and news have been handling these two issues?
I wouldn't use the word happy. Yeah, TV is very difficult because all you can use are sound bites and all you can use are the moment when the person is speaking. But you don't really get very much of a chance unless it's a talk show and you really get into it to make sense of the news, to try and tell it as a whole, to give the context, to wrap up the context of one party against the context of another party. So the public doesn't really get to know the truth. They just get snippets.
They get the drama.
Yeah, they get the drama, the snippets, the highlights, because TV works that way. It's better for TV.
So tama bang sabihin na what you're driving at is that itong mga balitang ito, though they're showbiz personalities, ay importante rin as long as you put it in the context na magiging importante for everyone?
Yes, if it's handled well. Alam mo, pinag-uusapan talaga, sensibilidad eh. Talagang sa akin, sensibilidad. Kapag mahusay ang sensibilidad nung program producer, nung host, nung nagko-comment, may mapupulot ang public.
While rating at the same time? Of course, kasi ratings ang isa ring goal dito, di ba?
That rating, to me, that's a given. But how you handle it, the sensibility that comes to inform the way you shape that material so that both sides are shown and people can make the judgment based on what you show.
So may winning formula na ganon, making it relevant, putting context, and rating at the same time.
I think so. I think the mere fact that you pick up on these subjects, well, that's a plus for the ratings, okay? Because people are interested. No matter what we say, people are riveted towards these celebrities. For instance, U2, if there was a story about U2, that would be more interesting than about somebody who has no name. It's just the way we are. We're interested in other people's troubles, people whom we think we know because we see them on TV. And now, the way your troubles will be handled by the reporters who will come along and write your story, that's where the crunch is, which is why I think the important thing is editors, program producers, news heads, always have to have a briefing session.
So the challenge is on us to make sense of all these things. Parang hindi lang siya, it goes beyond gossip and drama.
That's right. We don't kill the story. We don't deny it exists because it's out there. But how we handle it, how we shape it, it's up to us.
Alright, maraming salamat, Joanne Maglipon, Editor-in-Chief ng Yes Magazine.